Cool. Okay, yeah. So the first thing that I was curious about, I want to answer all your questions, but I'd love to hear, I guess, how you heard about BitClout,
Mm.
how you joined, and just like in your words, what you think it is or your perspective on it.
Yeah, no, I mean, so how I even got into this whole, like I'm not a crypto buyer. I don't own any coins anywhere. My first experience of even being or having owning anything was my own BitClouts. So how I got into this space, and I've known about it for a long time, and it's like, I probably should get into that
Yeah.
because it seems like the way of the future. And then I hadn't really heard about. I'm completely on the outside world of the crypto world.
Yeah.
So how I got into it, I'm a fine artist, so I've been painting for like 12 years. I'm in Sydney, Australia, and I randomly got an Instagram DM from somebody who said, "Hi, Jaimee, follow your work. Love what you do. Love your art for purpose. I'm working on a project with the gallery I work for, and we're doing a thing. Can I call you about it?" And turns out it is an NFT, I guess, fellowship or award where they're getting a bunch of artists together who have never done NFTs before, who aren't in that space at all, but are doing it in the fine art worlds or however they are doing it, even if it's animation. There's a mural artist, there's all these awesome artists that they've brought together. There's 8 of us. And I got pulled into this meeting and I was like, yeah, okay, all right. And literally since then, that was probably two months ago now, I feel like I've been at university and I've been instructed to, join Clubhouse and join Discord and join Telegram. And so someone set my BitClout up for me because obviously I have no idea what I'm doing. And that is somebody who I think they're working with someone that you might know. I'm realizing so soon that it's such a small community. And I'm like, oh yeah, this person's offered to like answer my questions, which is really cool. And the person who's kind of communicating us because so it's in collaboration with, I think he said I'm allowed to, I can just say it now, but Music X.
No, I haven't heard of them, but I'm terrible with names. Yeah.
So Music X they create NFTs on all the other platforms, and he's on Discord, but it's a group of artists who are musicians and then animations as well, and they do like dancing figures and all this really cool stuff. And they were invited into this to sort of help us get into the world of, moving from NFT. Fine art into NFTs and how it all actually works. So he's also communicating, I think, with Tony Wu. You can take out whatever.
No, I know who Tony
Mario
is. Yeah.
Mario someone.
Yeah, I know Mario and I know Tony. I know both of them. Cool.
Yeah, so he's been talking to them about, and then I'm the only artist in the group that's on BitClout so far. And to me, I kind of understand it as social media, like if Twitter and Instagram had a baby.
Sure.
Words what I say BitClout is. And then I'm trying to explain it to the other artists and I just don't know what the hell I'm really talking about.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's kind of how I got into this space, and I'm just learning and kind of creating artworks in my traditional way of painting watercolors on canvas. And then they're going to be animated by an animator who I'm working with. And then those NFTs will be sold. And then I do art for purpose. So I'm now moving into NFTs for purpose. So percentages of the sales of the NFTs will go to 2 charities in Australia. One's land, one's ocean. Yeah. So it's launching in September. So I'm just spending the time now just learning what the hell everything means. I don't know what it is. I don't know what most of the stuff is. I still don't even own any of my own coin or money other than my own BitClout. I'm like a real novice outside, don't know what everything is and just figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, that was the most interesting part for me because when I messaged you or you messaged me, it was clear that there was a lot you didn't know, not in a bad way, but because of how early we are with BitClout, and it's you can't really accidentally join BitClout, and people have enough trouble purposely joining BitClout, right? So I was really curious to hear your perspective, your thoughts, and your questions because I mean, my real job, my day job is I do product marketing at software companies. And a lot of what I do is trying to understand the buyer and the user persona, right? and understand their perspective. And it's really hard. You have a lot of biases when you work on the product, with the product. And in BitClout's case, you have been using it for a long, long time. Myself and a lot of other people, most other people on it that are active, we just have these biases. So I was just so curious to see someone who's not super crypto savvy or tech savvy, what everyone thinks is straightforward, that really that people like you don't understand, and figure out how we can help them understand it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it's totally like the only, I definitely was told about it, and then through conversations, and then he saw my Instagram and he was like, oh, we'll definitely have to get you on BitClout then, because if you use Instagram in that way of connecting with people and that's your main way of communication, then obviously that's something then that you'll understand. Because like to me, Discord or even just putting something up, I'm very, I guess people sell artwork and they sell artwork, right? And I think that's the similarity to what Discord is that there's community, there is talking to people, there is helping people, there's no point in doing anything that's good if say you can't help others, or, and it just seemed like I just understood it. I just understood that it was something that I could get my head around. People have profiles and then they put it up what they're interested in. They like and follow each other. They talk to each other. They lift each other up. And every time I have sort of, commented or sort of playing around with, okay, how do I find someone? What's this? Is this like Google, but not Google? Whatever the Cloud Vista thing. Vista, is that like Google?
Yeah. It's essentially like the Google of BitClout. So
it's not all of cryptos,
just specifically BitClout. So if you're trying to find something on BitClout, that's what you would use. Yeah.
That was one of my questions of like, how do you find anything if you're not necessarily following people, or how does anyone even find you? It's sort of, I'm seeing the same things, and is that only how I see social media, or like, okay, so this is going to be me weird doing an analogy. Here's a tree trunk, and this is like knowing everything. And then I'm coming in at one of these branches that has like 80 more fingers off it. And so I'm only seeing this little piece of all these connections. Is BitClout, am I only seeing that part because that's all I'm seeing? Or am I missing something that's like, and is that what Clout Vista is like?
That's such a good question. So let me explain. I think that's a great place to start. I think, so BitClout, there's so much. Okay. So I think the number one thing to remember is BitClout has been live and working for a total of 4 months. Yeah. So it's brand new. And it's essentially a proof of concept. It's almost like in the product space, we call it like an MVP, or a minimum viable product, right? So when you're looking at BitClout, you're looking at like the tiger or the leopard that you have in the back. Like that's the state of BitClout now, right? It's very, very, very early stages. And because of that, all of the functionality isn't fully baked yet, if that makes sense, right? One side of that is it's a bit frustrating. Finding people, finding your way around is frustrating. But the flip side is being so early, you're able to grow with the product, right? Imagine starting a business on Instagram 4 months after Instagram launched and continuing it. That's sort of the benefit of it. So I guess to answer your question about Clout Vista is a good place to start. So the main differentiator between BitClout and all the other platforms is it's decentralized and it's open source, which means all of the code that was used to create BitClout is available for anybody to see. So someone could go and click copy and paste and create their own BitClout on their own. And the benefit of that is it allows BitClout to grow. Well, there's a number of benefits, but one benefit is it allows other people, really anybody, to contribute to the growth of Bit, right? Because they have access to all the codes, all the guts, all the nuts and bolts that make BitClout work. And since they see it and they also create those things, they say, hey, I could go and build this and connect this piece here, right? Or I could go build this and connect this piece here. So Clout to Vista is a great example of that. Building a good search functionality is, from what I understand, I don't code, but from what I understand, it's pretty hard and takes a lot of time. So isn't very high on the priority list, I would imagine, for the core development team that's building BitClout. So someone else said, hey, I can build that. So they went and they built a good search tool, and the core development team were like, hey, that's actually really good. Let's throw it in, right? So that's what Cloud Vista is. And that's what a lot of the things, the areas that you're talking about, you're only seeing one small part. All these areas are built and being built by other people in the community, right? Creators. Yeah. So if you go to, like, an example is if you go and you're on the homepage and you see on the right hand side, are you there by chance?
I'm just getting into it. Okay. Wait, let me close on so I can still see you. Yeah, that makes sense, because I'm like, this is clear that, and that's why it's really beautiful, because it's very clear that everybody's using their skills of what they can do to make something better. And then no one kind of has necessarily, I mean, I'm sure that there is, but maybe it's not, because I don't decentralization to me sounds like nobody owns it. But if other people are building all these parts, then yeah, it lightens the load. No one's completely, it's like here in this area where I am at in Brookvale in Sydney's Northern Beaches, we're kind of sort of creating and aiming to create BAD. So it's Brookvale Arts District. And we saw what Miami Arts District was, and we see what, say, the arts artists in Soho do. And so if everybody bands together and uses their skills to create something, then it amplifies the whole community, and everybody works together, and they've all got ownership and a sense of, like, you know, worth in what they're doing. And then they're wanting to help everybody else around them, because everyone's feeling valued and everyone's feeling like they've got something to contribute. So is it kind of the same thing, but it's in the digital space, not in a physical?
Yeah. No, I think that's a great analogy. And then I think the other component of the decentralization aspect is that's why cryptocurrency and Bitcoin sort of came to existence in the beginning. And I'm not going to talk too much about this because I'm no expert, and I'm going to start making myself look really silly very quickly. But the idea behind it is the decentralized aspect, where everybody has access to it, to all of the information. So there can't be any bad actors, right? You can't get, I don't know, so Instagram or Facebook, your profile getting banned or removed, or them making decisions that of what you see and don't see based on their own personal initiatives, right? It's all the pieces. And that's another component of, so that's what a node, you asked about a node, right?
Yeah, this is me making myself sound stupid. I'm like, what's a...
No, it's funny because these questions are like, that is not by any means a stupid question. There's a lot of pieces in answering that question, but I think the most relevant answer is, if you take the decentralized aspect of BitClout and that idea, and then you take people who are really good at building other things as far as presenting, as how to present the same information better, I guess. That's sort of what a node is. I did a terrible job of explaining that. But example, you asked about a mobile app, right? BitClout doesn't have an official mobile app, but there's been 3 or 4 other developers that have built their own mobile apps for BitClout, right? Yeah. And they act as, these are all technically their own nodes, meaning you're viewing the same information as BitClout. It's just presented to you differently. But if you write a comment or follow someone from that app, it does it on bitclout.com as well, and every other node in existence, or not every other node. It has the ability to show on every node. Does that make sense?
So is it the one clout? So I've got the check BitClout, which I haven't even signed in to yet. It's just sitting on my phone.
Yeah. And so an example, like there's no, that's a different project that helps with other things. But an example would be like Flick app is one, and Clout Feed is another. those are mobile apps you could go to the App Store and download, and you could have like the same Twitter, Instagram experience through an app rather than having to do it on your browser. And those were built by third parties, not by the core development team, but it has access to all the guts on the back end.
So here's my tree trunk. My arms, that's BitClout. And then the nodes are like my palms, and then the users. And then when you enter, you're like a little leaf over here, and then you find your way in.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that actually works. If the objective, so I guess the leaves would be the nodes in that scenario. And there could be a gazillion different nodes. And that's really the objective. So the goal with the project is to build the engine and have people that are better at building the actual social media platforms build it, and then it'll just run on the engine in the background. So bitclout.com is just the proof of concept. They built this big, powerful engine that could do a million different things. And they said, we need to show the world one example of what this can do. So they threw up bitclout.com, the website, but it's just 10% of what really can be done. So they say, hey, here's an example of something that you can do with it, but here's all the information that you need. Go build something more, and it'll run on the background. Does that make sense?
Is Google. And then nodes are websites that can do whatever they want on that.
So BitClout is HTTP//, right?
Huh?
You know, on the website, you know how every website like has that, right?
Yep.
That's called a protocol. So BitClout is a protocol. So BitClout is that, and all the nodes are the website. So all the nodes run on BitClout the same way all the websites run on HTTP.
Oh, wait. So BitClout's what? Is before the HTTP.
HTTP:// website. Instead of that, it would be BitClout node, right? So instead of BitClout being Google, is the HTTP component, where it's like, it's the
BitClout is Chrome or Safari or Firefox.
I mean, that's closer, I think. But honestly, that at this point, I think that is like more in the weeds than like that. Like, you don't necessarily need to know all these ins and outs in order to use it properly, right? Yeah. Because if you did, this thing would never work, right? How are you going to convince everybody's mom and aunt and uncle to learn about all this just to use a new site? So but I think that's a good analogy. If you think the internet browser, I guess, so to speak, is BitClout, and the website that you go to are the nodes, it's all running on that. Yeah, I know you had more questions.
I'll go to.
Yeah, let me see if I could pull them up. Oh, you had a question about the founder reward. I know that's something that's pretty important. You had a couple questions about that. So do you have any understanding of what that is?
So when my account was set up, you do 10% because that's just what you do. So then I knew that, and then a friend I've seen get, and he's got all these amazing artworks ready to go. And he's like, he's got accounts on all the things, and he just hasn't shared anything. I'm like, what are you doing? Get them up. Anyway, he joined it. And then I'm like, your founder award's 100%. So I can't give you any coin because I wanted to get him started and then share it, whatever, just like I guess people did for me when I first got on. And he was like, I can't because I had to use a credit card, which he didn't have. And then something about using Bitcoin. I haven't even bought my own. I went to go and get some, but I still have to get taught how to use a Trezor thing or whatever, so I'm going to wait. But he said he has to use a credit card to be able to change his founder awards. And then my understanding of founder awards was if a person buys a dollar of my coin and my founder award is 10%, I keep 10%. Or they keep 10%.
You keep 10%.
90 cents of the dollar coin that they invested in me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so it's like it's essentially like a commission where you profit off people investing in you, because if that didn't exist, there's no real benefit for you, right? For your price to go up. Now, the way that your coin price works is it's on what's called a bonding curve, which is a mathematical equation. But all it really means is every time someone buys your coin, your price goes up. Every time they sell it, it goes down. The higher your price goes, the less each buy or sell really influence your coin price. Does that make sense?
So it makes sense to get coins of people who don't have many coins in rotation. And I know that the more their coin goes up, then
the higher the price.
By the price of what you bought into, I guess. So, when my account got set up, Morris called me like 2 hours later. He's like, "What did you do? Have you seen your account?" I'm like, "No, why?" And he was like, "What does that mean? Is that good?" That's cool. Yeah. And it was like, random. And then I've just had not as much at all on any of my posts since. So I guess it was just like, then is there algorithms inside of that? Or because I jumped on, then people go, "Oh, I'm going to invest because she's brand new and blah, 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 blah." And then it just goes back to normal.
Yeah. So when you buy a coin, there's a benefit to the investor to buying as early and as low as possible, right?
Yeah.
Because when you buy your coin, when someone bought your coin when you first logged on, right, or first created your account, they could have purchased your coin for $10. Now, if they want to purchase one whole coin, it's going to cost them $40, right?
Yeah.
And now when someone else purchased, they bought it for $10. Now that $10 has turned into $40 for them, right? And the more that people buy your coin, the higher it goes. And it sort of grows like exponentially. So in the very beginning, people have set up even like bots where every new account that's created, it tries to automatically buy a little bit right when they drop the founder reward.
I think that's what happened to mine, because I had all these emojis in my comments. And I was like, oh, that must be a thing. But now I see it's probably bots.
I think what happened and why your coin price, when you first got started, kind of got a bit of traction and then slowed down is your post landed on the global feed. So there's really two feeds. You have the global feed and the following feed. The following feed is obviously the people you decide to follow. The global feed is the same feed that every account sees the exact same feed, right? That's how I saw your account. And I'm sure that all happened on the same day that I saw it. I'm sure it was the same day everyone was investing. And the main thing, frankly, people jump in at a low coin price and then just sell later, right?
Which is what people did.
Yeah.
That's it went up to like $69 or something. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Random. And then the next one it was down to 39 again. I was like, oh, what is that, the bots or?
Yeah, people just sold and moved on. And that being said, because of that, there's a lot of people scam. They set up fake accounts and people invest and they sell their coin for profits and take the profits from them. So that's why you asked me, like, why are people messaging me on like Instagram asking if it's really me? It's because
that's how what you did. And that's how we started having a conversation. I was like, God, it's so weird. This is so surreal. And I don't know what I'm doing. And then you were just like, oh yeah, well, if you've got any questions, let me know. And then
no, exactly. That's exactly why, because I don't want to invest in a scam for multiple reasons. One, I would lose money, but two, I have a fair amount of followers, so people often look at who I invest in, and I don't want to lead people to lose money. So that's why I reached out to you and wanted to make sure before I bought your coin that it wasn't a scam, because a lot of people pretend to be artists in order to just get their coin price to rise, and they just sell their coin and take their profits and then create a new account and do it over and over again. Yeah, so. In order to in order to actually help prevent bots and scams, there's a wall that doesn't really let you create an account until you have a little bit of money in. And I think that's So you get a little bit of free money a few ways. One, from verifying your phone number. That way the system knows you're not a bot because you have a real phone number. It'll give you like $1 or $2, and that allows you to get, and then it charges you that money to like set up your profile, create your username, drop your founder reward, etc.
Okay, so the person who's can't change their founder reward from 100% to anything else, is that because he's still in the pre-bot stage? Because I want to be able to bring users on, like all the artists inside of this group, I want to be able to bring them on. And then like I've got so many artist friends that I want to be able to share all this stuff, and I'm trying to like, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about, but there's this thing, and then there's this other thing, and this other thing, and you all need to do it because it seems like it's really cool, and then I don't know.
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm happy to help as much as I can with that. And that was my original intention with this, to record this video.
Maybe a step by step of like, and then do that and then do this. Because I think especially if the goal is to get as many users onto this platform as possible, then it's going to be people who haven't necessarily invested in crypto currencies before, or have, and they hear about it through people like me who have no idea what I'm talking about. So yeah, maybe like go through the screen sharing or something.
Let me see. I don't know. So I'm on a free Zoom. I don't know if it kicks me off at a certain point.
It's 40 minutes.
Do you know how long we've been going?
We've been going since probably 2:00. It's now 2:34. Oh, 40 minutes. 40 minutes. No, we've only got 5 minutes. So maybe we do another one and then like just record that part or something.
Yeah, we could do that. Let me think if there's a few other questions we could just quickly
say. So like I'm in Australia, and so my time zone is completely the opposite. And then when I go into my notifications, it seems like I can only see, say, 10 at once. And so obviously they disappear after a certain amount of time. And because I'm in a different time zone, or because I am, say, I go from, maybe there's not much action because I'm still new and not a lot of action's happening on any of my posts. But as soon as that increases, I'll miss all of that stuff. I'll miss the reclouts or the likes. And then I won't necessarily be able to engage with people or say thank you and know who they are that might have followed me or given me a diamond or whatever. Is that something is it just me that can't keep scrolling down, or is that one of the going to be changing?
It might just be slow. So they just, in the last week or so, they just released the NFT functionality, the feature. And when they did that, because it was such a big load, I think it kind of puts a little stress on the system, and it prevents things like notifications to load properly. So it might just be slow, and you just need to just scroll, kind of wait for it or maybe refresh it. But I think the biggest issue is really discoverability. I think the like you said, like you can't find anyone. Because you can't find anyone, unless they're following you, they're not seeing your post. So what I would recommend is just following lots of people and going to the global feed. There's a fly in my house. Ew. Going to the global feed and just commenting on people's posts. And that allows you to be seen, because they can't search for you. There's no explore page. If they're not following you, they won't see it unless you land on the global feed or someone is like reclouding it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's like yesterday I randomly I've started to get in the flow of painting. I started to do a little sketch every day, and yesterday I decided I just did the little BitClout symbol. I might give this to somebody. And I was like, maybe that's a way to experiment on actually, figuring out how people do get to find out about you. And so I did it through followers, because I didn't want people to like have to buy my coin or have to diamond me. And then I realized now maybe it should have been reclouts, but then I knew that it was lagging. And so I was like, well, how do I find people's reclouts if I'm in a different time zone? And so I did follows, and I was like, but they have to see me to follow it. And reclout seems to be the way that people find out about you, by sharing. Yeah, I don't know how that's, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good way to go about it. Are you still doing it, or did you pick anyone or anything?
I said it would be on Sunday. No, okay. Monday my time, Sunday 9:00. I don't know what time zone I picked. I think Miami or something.
Cool. Yeah, I think a good way would be to maybe post about it again. And what's that?
Can you edit a post?
No, but you could post it again or recloud it like with a quote when you go. So that would be a good way to do it. and maybe say, reclout it and tag one person in the comments. And then that person will see that they got tagged. They'll come and maybe go from there.
So it is essentially the same as Instagram and Twitter. And that's why I was like, oh, it's the same. That's why I can get this, because I'm such a user on Instagram, and, 4,000 something followers for like 2 years. So slowly, because everyone just follows and then likes and then drops off. And it's exactly the same thing. You do giveaways and whatever, but the engagement on Instagram is like nothing now because of the algorithms and all that. So that's why I really like and excited. We artists feel so disheartened by, you work so hard and stuff just doesn't get seen, and it's just more content,
Yeah. I mean, that's really the solution that BitClout providing, and it allows, it takes out the middleman. An example of this, there's a DJ on BitClout, Tropics. He's a friend of mine, and you watched the Clout?
I watched the end of it. I missed the part where you were speaking at some point, but I got on at like say 9 a.m. my time. So it was when Fungibles and Craig were talking. Then someone was DJing the woman though. It was the girl, but I was like, it was 4 a.m. And then I went back and jumped on. I think it was Fungibles and Craig, or someone just before that.
Yeah. So Tropics is one of the people that put that on, and he said in it that he's on Spotify and you get paid on Spotify for every stream, right?
Yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah, he said that he's already made more.
I heard, it was
1 million streams on Spotify or something, So, I think with art, it's going to be huge. Yeah.
Right now, Sydney's in another lockdown, and I'm thinking, this project paused my own solo show, but I've got this big, beautiful studio, and I was going to have a whole solo exhibition. And now I'm thinking, well, I'll just do that with a whole exhibition, but these will all become NFTs, and that's how I'll sell as well. Because, the fact of being able to then on sell and continue that charitable amount percentage to go to charities too in perpetuity. Is that the word? No, for a long time coming. And that's why the arts world is so excited by it, because you spend all this time painting, doing your stuff, and then you sell a painting, and then 5 years later it's worth 3 times the amount. But the artist, or say in my case as well, the charity, sees none of that, even though the reason why people are buying you is because of the story and how hard you might work. So that's why I'm really excited about.
Yeah. So with this, it's going to allow you to get the royalty forever for every sale. So if it ends up reselling for 10 times that, whatever you set the royalty fee or percentage as, you keep getting that, and then you could move that to your charity. It's amazing. That's an amazing use case for the NFTs. I haven't seen it before, and I think that it's killer. Okay. So should I send you a new link and we'll just go through creating an account? You want to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you hang up if you need to press unrecord and save it or whatever. I've never recorded it.
Okay, cool.